Hey tree buddies, Papa here. Grammy and I are in the Smokies hiking, and we've been looking at the beautiful fall colors. So let's get into some Smoky Mountain trees. Here we go. Here's a great tree. It's a black birch, and it grows along streams. Yeah, maybe about 2,500 feet, 3,000 feet elevation. Look at those black vertical slits. That's how you can tell black birch. Here's another view of those black vertical slits. It also looks like it's been struck by lightning. There are two kind of birches that grow up here in the mountains, black birch and yellow birch. And the black birch leaves have all fallen off, but they're beautiful yellow. And here they are. Beautiful. Toothed leaves. Simple alternate tooth leaves, black birch. Now, if you chew a live black birch twig, you're going to taste wintergreen taste, because black birch and yellow birch are both full of wintergreen oil, and they used to harvest those trees for the wintergreen oil. Now they make it synthetically, so our black birches are more protected. Black birch. Here's yellow birch, one of the two birches that grows in the mountains, black birch being the other one. Yellow birch grows at higher elevations than black birch. And look at that really flaky bark. Both yellow birch and black birch have wintergreen oil in them. And the old pioneers knew, the old mountain people knew that if you peeled this bark off, and if it was rainy and wet and you needed to get a fire going, you could peel this bark off and it would light well, because it has that combustible wintergreen oil in it. Here's a cool evergreen shrub called dog hobble. Leucothea is the genus name, and he's a member of the heath family. It loves acid soils, and in places where it grows thick, they say it grows so thick it'll hobble a dog who's trying to get through it. That's a sourwood tree up there. Sourwood trees are common in the mountains and in the Piedmont. And look how it's loaded with fruit capsules. Those fruit capsules used to be tiny little white urn-shaped flowers that in summer produce nectar that the bees made into sourwood honey. Here's a mountain laurel shrub. One of the two main shrubs that grow, evergreen shrubs that grow here in the mountains. Rhododendron is the other one. The leaves of mountain laurel are poisonous to animals. Here's another mountain shrub that everybody's familiar with, Rose Bay rhododendron. It's evergreen, likes acidic soils, and it's really showing up along the creek here. Blooms with these big beautiful white flowers in, I think, late June. Horace Kephart said, "You can always find dry firewood in the form of the dead twigs hanging on these rhododendron shrubs, and they burn with a smokeless fire." This is red maple, a very common tree in the mountains and in the Piedmont. It's much more common in the mountains than sugar maple. Simple opposite, lobed and toothed leaves. Sugar maple has lobes on its leaves but no teeth. Red maple has teeth. Look at those red leaf stems. Beautiful. Here's the difference between sugar maple on the left and red maple. You can see sugar maple leaves have lobes but no teeth. Sugar maple leaves look like the flag of Canada. Red maple leaves have both lobes and teeth. That's a really easy way to distinguish these two maples that are abundant here in the Smokies, especially red maple. Far more red maples in the Appalachian Mountains than sugar maples. Here's another specifically mountain tree, striped maple. All maples have opposite leaves. Can you see the oppositeness of the leaves here? One leaf coming out on the opposite side of where the other leaf comes out. And some people call striped maple goosefoot maple because they think the leaf looks like the foot of a goose. And can you see the stripes on the trunk? That's a characteristic of striped maple, a mountain species. Here's a couple of once magnificent eastern hemlocks that were killed by the Asian hemlock, Woollia delgid. These trees could be easily 100, maybe 150 years old. We're looking at the witch hazel shrub right now. It has simple alternate toothed leaves, nice shrub, and witch hazel is in bloom this time of year. I don't see any blooms on this example, but we have seen the blooms of witch hazel along our hike here. It's about mid-November. This magnificent tree in all its autumn glory is an American beech. A fantastic tree that grows in the mountains and the Piedmont. Look at those beautiful leaves. And those leaves will, after they turn brown, they'll stay on the tree most of the year. Ficus grandifolia. And the foliage is grand here today. Beech, American beech. It's got pointy buds, real pointy, like cigar-shaped end buds, right there in the center. The leaves are papery, beautiful color, and they'll stay on all winter. And in the old pioneers in spring, when all these beech leaves would fall, they would get them and stuff them into their mattress ticks because they were fresh and they're kind of papery, so they don't get moldy quick, and stiff, and so they hold up to thrashing around on the bed. Here's an American chestnut leaf attached to a struggling American chestnut tree. Back in the early 1900s, the Asian chestnut blight came into America and laid waste all of our American chestnut trees. Now they just shoot up sprouts, but eventually, like in the case here, the blight finds the trees and kills them, girdles them and kills them. American chestnut. On the Mingus Creek Trail, and I've noticed that basswood leaves here, look how light colored they are underneath. And when you see them on the trail, it's a dead giveaway. Light colored leaves. And then when you look up there and you see a multitude of kind of grayish white leaves up in there, you know that's a basswood. So basswood's famous for having these sprouts around it. All right, see the tree here? Interesting kind of puzzle piece bark. And this is a yellow buckeye tree. Buckeyes have opposite leaves and opposite twigs. Look at those, the oppositeness of the twigs up there. And buckeye twigs are stout, the stoutest opposite twigs in the woods, in the mountains. That's how you can tell a yellow buckeye even without the leaves. It's got jigsaw puzzle kind of bark, and the twigs are stout and opposite. Here's another really great example of the jigsaw puzzle bark of yellow buckeye. And if you look up there, you can see very stout opposite twigs. Yellow buckeye. Here's a black locust tree. Black locust also has compound leaves. Those things that look like leaves up there are leaflets. And there are maybe 15 of them on the leaf stem. Can you see the thorns silhouetted up there? Black locust trees have thorns about the size of the thorns that are on rose bushes. This whole thing right here is a leaf. See, look at all those leaflets. Black locust tree is a pioneer tree. It comes in after land is cleared or a big fire burns on mountain slopes. Here's a fabulous hickory tree. Hickories have compound leaves. That means that this whole thing, that's the leaf stem, and these are leaflets. Let's count those leaflets. I count 2, 4, 6, 7 leaflets. And the twigs are very stout. That'll make this a mocker nut hickory. The Indians used to collect bushels and bushels of hickory nuts that they crushed and made into a sweet liquid called hickory milk. Here's a tiny little serviceberry, Amelanker genus. The way you can tell it from other trees with simple tooth leaves is can you see that kind of an indentation at the leaf base? Kind of heart-shaped? That's how you can tell. Serviceberry. Here's a beautiful chestnut oak tree. An oak tree that's found mostly in the southern Appalachians, but also some in the Piedmont too. And let's look and see what the leaves look like. There are chestnut oak leaves. Simple alternate. You could say, are those teeth or lobes? I think they're little lobes. That's very characteristic of the chestnut oak leaf. Hard to see, but the bark on chestnut oak is very ridgy. You can see a little bit of it there. Ridgy. Now, in the Piedmont, there's an oak that has leaves exactly like the chestnut oak, and it's called the swamp chestnut oak. You tell them apart because the swamp chestnut oak has flaky bark, looks just like the bark of white oak, but it has leaves that look just like those of chestnut oak. Hi buddies, rain has come to the southern Appalachians today, but tomorrow sunshine is forecast. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you can't get to the mountains in the fall, maybe this video will bring the happiness and joy to your heart that it does to Grammy and me. And as usual, give me all the comments you got about anything that's on your mind. I love to hear comments. All right, Papa out.